My name is John Goff. I'm a deacon here at St. Joseph's Parish in Dexter, Michigan.
My name is Deacon Jim Collum, and I serve at St. Martha Parish in Okemos.
Well, the permanent diaconate is men of the Catholic Church who have discerned and become deacons for the church.
So the Lord wrote onto my heart really the need to serve Him from a very young age. And in the back of my mind, I was always called to the diaconate, but I always felt that I was too young. And so I tried to placate the Lord the best way that I could. I served as an extraordinary minister of the Eucharist, brought communion to the homebound, served on my local Catholic school board, but it was never enough. And the Lord continued to call me to the diaconate in very quiet ways. And so finally, after a lot of prayer and contemplation, I spoke to my wife, and she was very encouraging, then spoke to the director of diaconal formation, and the rest is history.
My experience of being called, I never had the thought and idea of becoming a deacon. About 10 years ago, I was approached at Christmas Eve Mass by a parishioner who I kind of knew, but not really. And she just said, "You need to become a deacon." And within a week, 2 more people said the same thing, and I ignored it. And about a year and a half later, my wife and I went on a pilgrimage to Italy, and during that pilgrimage, 3 people from this parish approached me again. "You need to become a deacon." And it was at that point I said, God's obviously calling me to something. I honestly did not believe it was to become a deacon, but I started the process and I entered into the theology program, went into formation, and through that process, it was really good about the beginning of that process is the first few years were very focused on the discernment, is this a ministry you're being called to by God? And honestly, at the very beginning, I felt it would be something different. But as formation continued and moved forward, God made it clear that this is where He wanted me to be.
The deacon in the church fulfills an incredibly important role. He's configured to Christ the servant. So a deacon's job is to serve wherever the bishop puts him. For many deacons, that means serving in a parish, working to serve the people through liturgy, word, and charity. In whatever capacity the deacon serves, he carries with him an indelible mark that allows him to bring the light of Christ to whatever situation that he's in.
In the Mass, we're here as a servant to Christ. The number one responsibility is a deacon is ordained to the cup. We're the minister of the blood of Christ.
In terms of my marriage, I think that especially as I work with young couples that are preparing for marriage or working with individuals for whatever reason have had their marriage fall apart, it's really helped me to better understand what the sacrament of marriage is. And so it's helped me to better understand how Christ works through that sacrament in my own marriage. My children were very young when I started formation, and so they have always known me not only as dad, but also as either a deacon in formation or a deacon. So they have been very accepting of that and very willing to help in whatever way that I need.
There's a comfort that we all feel, and they feel, to come to me in those needs of spiritual depth that is in their life, whatever that may be. There's a confidence that the ordination process, when ordained, I didn't have prior to becoming a deacon, and that confidence to approach my family members with, "Hey, how's your spiritual life? How's your relationship with Christ?" I have co-workers who come to me about not just work, but in things that they're struggling with in their lives. I'm here to serve, to be with you in any form that you feel comfortable with. I would say to a man who is discerning the diaconate that it's an incredibly strong prayerful process. You need mentors and guides who are in that process, who are leading that process, to give you good direction and guidance. And the support of your family is very important.
Spend some significant, sustained time in prayer before our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament and just tell Him what's on your heart.
Just working with individuals and families. I lead a men's group here at our parish, and to have all of us come together and prayerfully think through the gospel readings that are coming up this weekend and reflect on and meditate and see where God's calling each man towards their relationship with Christ.
Honestly, the thing that brings me the most joy as a deacon is just being able to serve God's people in the name of the church.